When it comes to leadership and teaching and training other leaders, one of the tools that we use here at Essential Leaders Institute is a book by my mentor, one of them, John Maxwell, called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And I've been a certified Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer for going on almost 10 years now. And one of the chapters in here is called The Law of Awareness. And I want to read an excerpt to you from here. It says, "You must know yourself to grow yourself. No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with himself." Now, that's a great quote, and I want to start off by saying that in order to actually chart out a plan and chart out a course, you have to know where you came from, then know yourself enough now where you are in order to plot the course to where you want to be. And so today's lesson, we're going to be talking about empowerment and how do you empower yourself and empower your team. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Welcome back to Business and Bible. This is Doc Favors, and I hope you all are enjoying this series on leadership and how leadership affects your business and what you're doing. And one of the things that I forgot to mention on the previous video is that leadership is about team and having people and influence and people to walk with you. But leadership first starts in your heart. It starts with where you are and in terms of your call and what you want to do. And I got a piece later on in the week I'm going to share with you all about being called as a leader, okay? Now that we're back, guys, do me a favor, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel and turn that bell notification on so you can get the notifications when we do and release these videos. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, when you talk about empowerment and empowering teams, one of the Bible scriptures that I love when you talk about team building a business that many people overlook and don't know comes to us from Luke chapter 19, verses 13. Now, I'm definitely going to read this in the New King James Version because it reads different. And this is one of the scriptures that changed my life as it relates to business because I had not read the other translation. So Luke 19, Luke 19, verse 13 says this. Let me back up. Let's start at verse 11. He says, "Now, as they heard these things, he spoke another parable, because he was near Jerusalem and because they thought the kingdom of God would appear immediately. Therefore he said, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. So he called 10 of his servants, delivered to them 10 minas, that is to say, each worth about 3 months' salary, and said to them, do business till I come. But his citizens hated him and sent a delegation after him saying, we will not have this man to reign over us." And the story goes on to talk about what happened and how he'll come back and take an account. But that term right there, do business until I return, guys, sent me on a whole nother spin. In fact, we even changed the name of our church to Empowerment Action Center under the understanding that we're supposed to be doing something. What are we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be doing business and working toward an expected end for kingdom. And so when it comes to understanding empowerment and really going through this, you all, I want to share a few things in today's lesson as we talk about the biblical model of empowering others and in a practical way, an applicable way for business leaders today. So first thing I want you to write down that we notice in this thing, you all, is responsibility. When you equip your team the correct way, they'll take responsibility. You see, the true essence of empowerment, when you talk about empowering a team and yourself, anyone around you, is you first got to trust them with responsibility. And this is why I don't micromanage. We course correct, cybernetically course correct, but micromanaging creates an environment of fear and it stifles creativity. We stay away from atmospheres and cultures like that. Now, once again, we do this while giving team members room to make decisions and to make mistakes so that they can build confidence. They can even trust themselves, okay? Otherwise, they'll ask you what to do all the time. They'll be afraid to make decisions. They won't pull the trigger. They'll miss amazing opportunities. So just as Jesus entrusted his disciples with spreading the gospel, with spreading the business of gospel, leaders must trust their team. We got to trust our teams to carry out the tasks and the missions within the business. And this is where Luke 19:13 come in, because Jesus gave responsibility to his servants. He trusted them. He invested in them and told them to grow and to grow in resources and to grow and spread this gospel. So he gave them resources. He trusted them with the resources. And what happened? The act of trust empowered them to act with purpose and creativity and with vigor, with zeal. And this is what you want your team to do as well. So first point, if you empower your employees by delegating significant tasks and giving them the tools to facilitate those tasks and tools to succeed, it doesn't matter if it's a project, for a small role in a leadership position or handling client relations or making key decisions. When you show that you trust them, it builds the confidence and the results begin to happen more frequently, more often. That's one of the keys to how we get rapid results in our coaching programs. We allow them to learn from mistakes while supporting their growth. And so we have a whole piece called green light section, or the green light district. What does that mean? When you're in the green light district, that means go make mistakes. I'll tell you, you're gonna make a mistake, make it big. That way the learning implications are magnanimous and we can really get somewhere, okay? Now, the second thing we see, I want to share, is that you talk about when you're empowering others, you have to have a system of development. So developing leadership in others is key, right? Think about this. Great leaders know how to empower people because they serve them. We know that. So think about it. When you as a leader focus on serving the needs of the team rather than just serving yourself and or issuing orders, then you're creating this culture, okay? You're creating an environment of mutual respect, and this is an environment that is conducive for growth. Even when we talk to you about the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset, you still got to have an environment. So on one aspect, I'm at my home office. This week, I'm in my office at my business, okay? And you can see in both places, it's books. It's conducive for environment, you see? So now, when you talk about this particular text here and development, let's look at Matthew 20, verse 26 and 27. The Bible says, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. And whosoever be chief among you, let him be your servant. Now, I want you to think about it, because it seems to me Jesus flipped the traditional mode of leadership or model of leadership. And he said, I want you to demonstrate that true greatness comes from servitude, not the one with the biggest muscles, the one who got the best profile, the more likes and comments. No. Jesus said the one who serves the most, the one who gives the more value, the one who lowers himself and put him or herself in a position to help others. You see, this act of service and this act of mindset empowers those around you also to achieve their highest level of potential. That is the essence of development. Do you have a system of development, discipleship, a system of growth? Do you have a green light district so they won't be afraid to make decisions and make mistakes? And then do you have time where you all come back and discuss? You see? So ask yourself this. This is how you apply this to your business. Ask yourself, what can I do to help my team succeed? If you already do that, then switch the question. What can I do to help my team succeed faster? More direct. When you do that, you may find that you'll begin to get a little more, how can I say it? You're going to see a lot of more initiative when you start asking those questions, because you come up with creative ways to help bless the people, help encourage the people, help move the needle. And this may mean offering additional training for them, some mentoring for them, some counseling to help them get through challenges, business-wise and personal. It also means removing obstacles that may limit their ability to be effective to the level of magnitude that you're requiring from them. You see, the more you think about how can I make them better, how can I help them succeed, you by default help your company succeed and thus increase the financial stability of that company or that business, okay? So the more you empower those around you, the more you allow them to excel in their roles. That is so crucial. leadership development. So here it is. We have responsibility. We want to trust them with responsibility. Then we want to have some type of mode of development inside that company, okay? And then the last thing when it comes to empowerment, and y'all know I can talk about this for days because once again, my church is empowerment. We all about our Sunday school sessions are nothing but empowerment sessions. We literally find creative ways to empower people, to get them to be on fire. You're not going to be around favorites too long and not feel like you can go out here and blaze and do something, okay? So anyway, let me give you the last piece. Celebrate the wins. When you talk about empowerment, when you create a culture that inspires confidence, you celebrate the wins. That whole culture turns into a growth culture because now you're encouraging things. You're encouraging people. One of the most impactful ways you are to empower someone is by recognizing and celebrating their achievements. It goes a long way. Just a thank you or a card or just some random act of kindness to say, you know what, I not only appreciate what you're doing, but I see you. Because a lot of times people don't never get acknowledged. Everybody always highlight the bad things, but can I just get acknowledged, just a pound on the back every now and then? We live in a time and day where people say, oh, I don't care what they say about me, I care what they think about me. Well, and a little piece of us, we do. Whether you believe it or not, you do, So that's why we build that culture, empowerment, positive reinforcement that through achieving and acknowledging someone, it'll boost the morale. It reinforces the culture of excellence within your business or your company. And then, you'll see improvements. And that's why I love the word empowerment, because it also involves challenging them. Some people, they can do their tasks well and they do it quickly, but they need a challenge. And so a lot of times when you start challenging people in a positive way, in a good way, it encourages the team to step up and step out of their comfort zone. And that's when real growth takes place, because change doesn't happen if change don't happen. I know that sounds funny, but if there is no change, there can be no change, okay? So in the NIV, I had to go to another translation for this one. Thessalonians 5:11 says, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. That is crucial, ladies and gentlemen, because encouragement is essential for empowerment. Just as Paul encouraged believers to build one another up in faith, I believe business leaders should consistently recognize and affirm the contributions of others around them, your support team, your leadership team, the workforce, the sales force, every department under you, all the team leaders. Here in our piece, we have weekly meetings at the company. We have weekly meetings in the ministry. So I can look at people and say, hey, you did this good and thank you for that. And, we do certain gifts. We bless them around certain times of the year, just because it don't even have to be a birthday or anything like that. It's just an amazing atmosphere, okay? So here's another key too, because a lot of people, sometimes they do this secretly. Publicly recognize team members for their contributions will quickly set a standard in your company. It will quickly change the morale, boost morale, and make everybody say, you know what, maybe I'll get one next. You can do it in your meetings. You can do it through a company announcement. You can acknowledge the hard work and success of certain individuals or their teams. You do weekly newsletters, however you want to do it. Even in when you challenge them to new goals and responsibilities, you can keep them growing and engaged when you acknowledge them, especially publicly. Because sometimes people never get that. You'd be surprised how many people we've counseled that never experience a public accolade, a public thank you, but they get public disdain. They get, exposed publicly. So as we wrap this session up, please remember that empowering your team is a transformative leadership practice that drives growth. It also drives trust, and it increases productivity within your business. Remember, by equipping your team with trust and responsibility, serving one another through leadership, encouraging one another through the successes, the wins, you will create a thriving work environment, thus fostering a thriving working business atmosphere. And don't forget the professional development. Jesus' model of servant leadership shows us that when we serve and empower others, we not only elevate them, but also ourselves. And if we elevate them and we elevate us as the leaders, then the whole organization is going to benefit. So as you go out this week, my prayer is that you find a way to empower those around you. Say, well, I'm a solo entrepreneur, then empower your family or your significant others for helping you and giving you the space to devote such time to these endeavors. I guarantee you'll get a different response. This is my prayer for you and your company, that God will continue to bless you, to multiply you, to grow you, show you that you matter. Your business matter. Your ideas matter, people. And once again, or at this time, if there's anything that I or my institute can do to help you, and this is genuine, y'all, then you can reach out to us. We're not hard to find. And, just submit a ticket or just, set up a Calendly call, and let's see how we can help. Okay, it'll bless me to be a blessing to you. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is Doc Favors. Let's be positive on purpose. Remember, consistency is the key. Let's stay blessed by the best. We'll see you next time.